Hey guys, and welcome to the Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report presented by Angelo Depaola, the Coastal Connection with eXp Realty. The first podcast to bring you the local inshore, offshore, and onshore fishing report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I am your host, Butch Theory, here again this week, and before we jump into the reports, we've got a really cool opportunity for you. We have partnered with AFTCO, and they are offering all of our listeners 10% off AFTCO products. All you have to do to get your 10% off is text the word fishing to 314-665-1767. Again, just text the word fishing to 314-665-1767. Subscribe to our email list, and we'll send you the promo code via email. All right, folks, we have a great Alabama saltwater fishing report lined up. But first, let's see who's making the show possible this week. This week's Alabama saltwater fishing report is brought to you by Sportsman's Marine. Sportsman's Marine has an extensive tackle selection of anything that local anglers need for saltwater and freshwater fishing, as well as boating accessories. They have the largest selection of the slick lure in Mobile and Baldwin County. They have AFTCO, pelagic, and saltwater fanatics apparel along with other local brands. Go check out their Edgewater, Wellcraft, and Vexus lines of boats. They offer engine services with 5-star Yamaha and Mercury mechanics. Also, if you're looking for a street legal electric golf cart, go check out their Atric golf carts. Sportsman's Marine on Highway 98, and they also have a downtown location next to Mr. Jean's Beans in Fairhope, Alabama. And also brought to you by United Bank. United Bank knows what an important role agriculture plays in our local economy. At United Bank, they are here to support local farmers with financial products and services designed specifically for agribusiness, including real loans for farmland, equipment loans, working lines of credit, and more. Truth is, they deeply value the contributions agriculture makes to our communities, and they help our local farmers build successful businesses. They want to see you succeed. Learn more at unitedbank.com or stop by any United Bank branch. United Bank, all loans subject to credit approval, equal housing opportunity lender, member FDIC. All right, folks, welcome back to the Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report. I am your host, Butch Theory. I am joined today with Tanner Deas, Dauphin Island Fishing. How are we doing today, Cap?
I'm doing good, man. How have you been?
Very well, very well. It's been a little rainy here today, but the sun seems to be peeking out a little bit. I hope the forecast isn't a little sketchy.
I think this weekend, I was looking yesterday, this
time of year, if you just watch that, you're never going to go fishing, though.
Yeah, I know, man. I saw this morning, it was an 88% chance of rain, and I woke up and I still went. I had a 3-hour window there, but struggled and didn't find any fish. Started raining, had to pack it in and go home.
Dang. Better than not going fishing. You got a little exercise in.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to
put in your time.
Can't get them every time.
And you can't catch them on the couch either.
You can't catch them on the couch. All
those little sayings.
Unfortunately, some of these guys can't catch them at work. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Got to go when you can go. And I just went ahead and pulled the trigger and just didn't happen. So that's how it goes.
That's right. I'm sure you learned something along the way.
That's right. I can't wait to ask Captain Bobby some questions now.
That's right. I bet you got some things in the back of your mind you've been peddling on.
No doubt.
Heard that.
Water was dirty. Tons of bait around. Slicks, throwing right in them. Top waters, changing, throwing the slick, changing, throwing a twitch bait.
No love.
Changing, throwing a Z-Man on the bottom.
No love.
Nothing. No bites. Just loads of bait. I even saw a trout choke on a live bait and like float at the top and struggle and like be stunned and then like finally digest the bait.
Wow.
Like, I was like, wow.
So they were eating something.
They're feeding in here.
They were eating something. Oh
man, I was throwing and pogies were jumping out of the water, bro.
Wow. Maybe that's why. Maybe you had too much competition.
There's no telling, but
we'll definitely see what Captain Bobby says.
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
Me too, man. We have a great report lined out for you guys this week. We're going to go inshore, offshore, and onshore. So you guys stay tuned. All right, Tanner, let's head on down and get our first report of the day. Let's see where Perdido Blane Roberts has been up to. Welcome back to the show, man. How are we doing today?
What's up, Buzz? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. Where you been fishing and what's been going on? Kind of run us through your last couple of good trips or last couple of days on the water.
Yeah, and man, we've really had some good weather. Minus the heat.
Right.
For the last week. I mean, I kind of kept waiting for the bottom to fall out, and it finally did. It looks like we got some rain for the next 8-9 days.
Saw that. We were just hoping that wasn't going to be true.
But it's been decent. I've been definitely doing the in and out in the morning, hitting the beach at 5:30, and I'm out of there by 8. As far as as the heat starts coming in, and then in the evenings I've been doing the 6:30 p.m. to sundown bite.
Has there been any difference in between the two? Have you noticed one's been more fruitful than the other?
For sure.
Not really. I think it's the cooler times.
Yeah.
Is when they're getting active. Spring, fall, man, we can fish all day long and you're going to catch fish. If you're willing to sit out there. But I'm just, I'm not paying attention to tides. I'm not paying attention to any of that right now. It's like the heat.
Yeah. Staying away from
I'm targeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fish are too, man.
Sure.
And that's what I've been doing. And I've been on a great Spanish bite. I've been leaving all the set rigs at home. I haven't been taking the cart. I've just been taking like my one casting rod, backpack, and probably for the last 5 trips out to the beach, that's what I've been doing. Targeting blues, targeting Spanish, just for kicks. The Spanish, obviously, I'll eat. I've had a couple charters this. Yeah, man.
Underrated.
I've had a couple charters this week where I was actually able to let the clients cast out and catch them that way, and that's like a cool experience for them. Way different than the
Spanish.
Oh yeah,
so much fun. I can bet they're fun from the beach too. So, talking about those Spanish, kind of walk us through your setup, your bait, your leader, your rod and reel.
I would love to. Yeah. So what I'm taking down there, I'm throwing an 8'6" Ninja Dagger. It's one of the newest lineups from Matt Poole. Matt Poole's out of North Carolina. He does the Ninja series. The
Familiar.
Ninja Dagger series.
I've heard the Ninja Tackle name
Good stuff
here and there. I think Beach Bum made his stick with them.
Maybe so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've basically like gone all Ninja. I even got an inshore 7 foot, but for what I'm doing out there, I'm taking that 8'6". It holds up to about a 1.5 lure weight. So I'm kind of maxing it at that. I try to hit the middle point. So really I'm throwing a 1 ounce, whatever, man, anything with a treble hook on it. I've been using I've been using the GI jigs a lot too. They just have like a single hook out the back, and the gold, the Spanish seems to be tearing them up.
Okay, I saw those jigs on your page. Those are very interesting looking Spanish
GI jigs.
Yeah, they look a lot
GI
like
jigs.
Check those out.
They look a lot like I guess if you follow the eye strike fishing or the jig heads that have the big eye. I've noticed they have a big eye on them.
They definitely have the big eye on them.
For those Spanish. Yeah, they look really cool. I thought they were very interesting.
Apparently they work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, and they're working. But the problem with targeting these toothy critters is I lose them.
That's right.
I lose them, and I've been tying on the ES lure. Ninja also makes that. It's your basic little lead shape, like rectangle kind of shape. Treble hook out the back, just casting spoon, whatever you want to call it. And I've been trying to get away with 40-pound leader. One day I bumped it up to 60 because they kept biting me off. But I've been able to pull them in with the 40. Yeah, I start
That's
light.
beefy.
Yeah. I start light, and I try to, if I have to bump it up, if I lose like 2 lures, I'm going to bump it up. I'll start with 40. 4,000 series reel, 20-pound braid that's my setup. And then I carry like a cooler backpack style where I just kind of put my tackle boxes down in the backpack with my water and stuff like that. They're waterproof tackle boxes, and I'll throw my fish in there also. So I'm like, very, very compact. I'll take one little short like PVC sand spike just to when I'm changing out lures and things like that. I need to set my rod down. Obviously, we don't want to set it in the sand and stuff like that. So I find taking that little short, cheap sand spike, it saves you.
Yeah, man, I have the same one. It's super useful.
I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, straps right into your backpack.
Yep, straps right into the backpack, man. It's no trouble. And when you get to a hot spot, I just go ahead and stick it in the sand and start going. And then I lose a lure, whatever. My leader gets frayed. I can change it out right there. It's an easy change.
Tie area.
Are you bleeding those Spanish on the beach, Blane?
Oh yeah.
Makes a big difference.
I bleed the Spanish. Yep, I bleed the Spanish. Sometimes I'll eat the blues too, man, and I'll bleed those guys out.
I've heard that there's certain preparations that that
I
it's.
think David Thornton loves them.
I mean, I've tried them. You know, we've all tried fish. You know, I've tried them. I don't
with blues.
It's not something
with
I
blues
hate, but
with blues and even Spanish, I don't want to keep them too long. Like, so when I know this is what I'm going to do, I want to go catch some blues to eat. Like, I go get one or two and I'm gone
that night.
You know what I mean?
Or that day.
Yeah,
eat them fresh.
Eating on that day. Yep, I'm eating them within an hour.
It's the only way.
And it's been a blast, man. It's been a blast. I've been catching them on the set rigs too. The whiting are still scarce. Just all my normal whiting tactics haven't been working. And it's like you catch one now and it was just like by luck. Like I wasn't targeting that whiting, you know?
It's so weird that you guys have, that's kind of a reoccurring subject here this year is, you know, whiting have been hard to catch. And where's the whiting? Well, what's the theory on the whiting? What do you think? Because I haven't been catching them over here. I'm throwing set rigs and stuff, catching pompano over here sometimes, but I'm not catching whiting.
I have no idea.
I think it's I've
heard people saying they're moved out, they just haven't moved in. But I mean, really, man, these
I
past
didn't know they
few
ever
years,
left.
I don't think they're supposed
I can
to.
catch whiting year round.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed
whiting
to.
is like my go-to when I can't catch anything else.
Right, I didn't know they ever left.
It's just been scarce. I got on one hot whiting bite, and they were all like 11, 12 inches, like no studs. And I think we pulled in like 6 or 7, like within 30 minutes. And I was like, they're back. And that was it. That was like 6 weeks ago.
Well, that's crazy.
I haven't seen them since.
I mean, that's just always been a staple fish. You go beach fishing or whatever, and you throw out a set rig.
That's kind of a staple. Like
you're
say.
Like, you know,
you don't have to try too hard.
You're almost 80 or 90% to yourself. Like, oh, I'm going to catch a whiting.
At least I can catch a whiting if we strike out.
I'm going to catch a catfish and I'm going to catch a whiting. Like that might happen.
Let me ask you this, Blane. You said you were doing some set rig fishing and some walking the beach. How are you making that determination for our listeners that are trying to go this weekend, weather aside?
Honestly, if I'm running a guide, if I'm running the charter, I'm set rig fishing. When I'm just solo by myself, I've been walking the beach.
Fair enough.
We get that opportunity this time of year to do that. And it gets me out of my comfort zone, man. You know, I think we get kind of set in our ways where when we go to the beach, this is what we're doing. I need to bring all 4 rods. I need to bring my cart. Definitely. It's too hot for me to be donkeying that stuff down there, man.
Yeah, dude.
You know, and I know what's going on this time of year. I'm going to hook up on a lot of ladyfish. I'm going to hook up on a lot of blue runners, and I'm just basically going to be fighting lines the whole time. And I am able to pull in a pop here or there. Pulled in a couple this week. They were like right at slot. One was actually like 10.5, so right at under slot, and this was Florida side. So they're still around. I got on some pumps in Fort Morgan last weekend, and they were, you know, you guys were total links, so they were like 14. So you can still pull those off, but I'm fighting off a lot of fish. So me personally, if I'm not running a guide, I want to go down there with my one rod and I want to walk the beach and I want to throw around and see what happens, you know. And it's fairly new to me. I dabbled with it last summer and I couldn't commit. I couldn't go down to the beach without all my gear. And then once I set up, that was it. I ain't going nowhere.
I have to say that a lot of that kind of guerrilla style, one rod, backpack, here we go type fishing, that's a lot of what I do and I spend a lot of time doing. And I just will attack the island in the biggest way possible, you know, as much as I can until I find the fish or whatever. And curious to know, is it more productive than you imagined? Because I've had a lot of killer trout days or killer redfish days or days where I just go and smoke the Jack Crevalle, and you know, I'm able to repeat a lot of that stuff. And then, you know, I realized that it was pretty sustainable and pretty fun in my area and a good way to do it. Do you feel like that's something that you found?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely catching.
Yep.
And again, you hook up on the ladies and stuff like that, but really, man, those are fun on that lighter tackle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't catch today.
I don't mind hooking up on
there.
them. Yeah,
they really are. It's better than
I don't
people
mind them
think it
slamming
is.
it. And I'm like, there we go. All right, that's what I needed to feel.
Oh,
Right.
And,
Yeah, dude.
you know,
We're out there for the fight too.
That's right. They fight
Yeah.
hard and they're fun to catch.
I mean, they're not
playing around with the jetties
you know.
over there in Orange Beach, things like that. Because up until really this year, it was like surf or kayak for me. That's what it was. If the conditions weren't good for surf, I was in the kayak, vice versa.
Right.
And just trying to kind of break away from that and get into some new stuff. And man, I like what you said, the gorilla style. Man, it's a lot easier. I'm not lugging
For
a
sure.
kayak. I'm
It
not lugging a
is.
cart.
You got
I'm
2 or
like,
3
all right, here we go.
boxes. And you don't have to keep
Yeah.
fish either. You can go out there and
You don't
just
have to keep them.
have
Don't
a
have to
good
keep 'em.
time
Yep.
and then
And there's a lot to be
carry
said
your
for
backpack back.
there's a lot to be said for being mobile, for being able to stick and move too. Cover a lot of ground.
Oh
that way.
yeah,
No doubt.
cover a lot of ground.
You're
Yep,
not one
and,
spot in it waiting for those fish to come to you and you're able to go
Yep.
find them. I think that's a huge
chasing
factor.
the birds down and the blow ups and yeah. So that's definitely been doing that. But like I said, when I'm running guides, when I'm running charters, it's the set rig fishing style, and we're still getting on them. You know, it's a summertime bite though. It's a smorgasbord out there. You can't avoid it. But again, for a lot of those customers, especially the kids, man, they hook up on those ladies and the blue runners and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're having a
That's
blast.
right.
That's right, man. Well, that's a great report. You know, we got to get a tip from you before you leave. What you got for our onshore listeners this week?
Yeah, man. This came to me actually talking to one of my buddies about just kind of knowing with your rods, the weight capacity, you know, for slinging them. All right. Talking to one of my buddies on the beach, he was talking about how he couldn't get his cast out, and he had a 12-foot rod with, you know, the lower capacity went up to like 7 ounces, I think. And he's
Big
throwing
stick.
like a 2 ounce. And he's like, I bought this longer rod so I could get the further cast, but I still can't get it anywhere. And just knowing like Ninja, Matt Poole, and Frisky Fins and those guys, I've been hanging with those guys for the past year and a half. They've taught me a lot about that stuff. And what they've taught me is if your lure rating on your rod is, say, let's say 2 ounce to 7 ounce, you want that middle point, and you want to be throwing that no matter if it's flat or you know what I mean? And because that middle point, so if it goes up to a 7, like a 4 ounce weight on that rod is like the sweet spot. And that's
Right.
where you're going to get your maximum load
Great
out
tip.
of that rod
Makes sense.
to sling it. And I think we get away from that, especially in the Gulf of Mexico, because we don't necessarily need 4 ounces of weight. So we want to throw our 2 ounce weights and things like that, and we're not getting the maximum cast out of our rods. So that's a tip I wanted to throw out there for the guys, you know, like try to find that midpoint that what your rod can handle, and that weight is going to be what your rod wants for that load.
Yep, to get the optimal casting distance. That's a great tip, man. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, man.
That's a great report, man. We appreciate that. That's a great tip as well. If folks want to follow you on YouTube, or where would you point them to get more information from Perdido Blane?
That's it, man. Yeah, Perdido Blane. You can find all social media under Perdido Blane and website perdidoblane.com.
Awesome, buddy. We appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing from you next time.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that was a great surf fishing report from Perdido Blane. You guys take a quick minute and check out a few of this week's great sponsors. That segment was brought to you by L&M Marine. L&M Marine has something for everyone, from small hunting boats, pontoon boats, to bigger bay boats and offshore hybrids. L&M Marine LLC prides itself on its customer service and knows how important it is to have someone you can trust and to be taken care of. They are locally owned and regularly support the community. L&M Marine provides superior customer service and has an entire team that consists of professional sales members, finance experts, service technicians, and a knowledgeable parts and accessory staff to support you. Go visit their friendly, reliable, and experienced staff, now located only 6 miles north of I-10 at 34600 Highway 59 in Stapleton, Alabama, or give them a call at 251-937-1380. And also brought to you by Sam's Bait and Tackle. Sam's is your one-stop shop located at 27122 Canal Road in Orange Beach. Sam's has a little bit of everything, including a deli, inshore, offshore, and surf fishing tackle. They also have bait, clothing, groceries, name brand sunglasses, and so much more. Sam's also has tackle experts and podcast contributors Chris Becce and Dusty Hayes on hand to answer any questions you may have about any type of local fishing, and can also repair your rods and reels if necessary. Stop by and shop or call them at 251-981-4245 today. All right, Tanner, before we get to our next report, we're going to head on down and see what Captain Richard Rutland's up to. We're going to talk about some things that are going on now that you need to be involved in, and some upcoming things as well. What you say, Captain Blood?
What you doing, Butcher and Tantan? I come up with some nicknames for y'all since y'all are the dag of y'all the dream team last week on getting the ling out there, man. It looked like an awesome trip, Captain Mike, man. I'd have killed to come with y'all.
It was, man. We had a good time. We hadn't talked about that yet.
Time, man.
Yeah, it was. That was a fun
time.
trip.
We had a really good time.
Caught some nice ones. Got to get dad boat up, so that was cool.
On a big one.
The biggest.
Yeah, I know. I love that video. And I tell you what, Tanner, I got to give you props, man. I know you ain't gaffed a whole lot of fish being out of your canoe and everything. You did a great job. You did a great job sticking that fish and getting him in the boat and all in one motion, man. I know that was a cool video, man. I was proud of you guys. I coached y'all up well, man.
Hey, so did Captain Mike. He had us out there telling us what was up, what to do, and it was a great time out there sending old orders. The old salty dog.
He ain't scared to
it
send
was
some
a good
orders.
time, man. It was great, and stabbed some fish, put them in the boat, caught my first Kobe and myself. It was a great time. We had a blast.
Good deal. Well, cool. I want to jump on here and talk to you guys about a couple things we got going on right now. You know, we got the big thing, man, is the CCA Star Tournament that we have going on right now. CCA, you know, I'm part of the rules committee with the Star Tournament this year, and I want to say when I talked to Blakely, about 250 participants in the event right now that we can see, but the funny thing is that number kind of seems a little down to me, but we've already had, I think, 2, possibly 3 fish that tagged fish already caught, and nobody's won the boat yet. You know, I believe it's a 21 or 22 foot Nautic Star with a Yamaha and trailer package that were given away.
Yeah, about $65,000 worth.
Well, that sounds sweet.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a little about this here and there.
You know, so heck, man, it's just one of those things, man. If you're gonna be fishing, you're gonna be in the area, man. Golly, it just behooves you to buy. I believe it's a $55 or $75. I think it's $55 ticket.
Yeah, so you have to be a CCA member and you have to get the Star ticket. I think both of those combined, if you're not a CCA member, is, I want to say $75. But I mean, even if you're fishing off your dock at night, you know, if you live around here, you got to have a ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to be that guy?
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
You can't be catching that fish and not having a ticket. I've already seen the sad guy. He looked like a sad little, a sad clown.
And that guy's
face.
probably not. That guy's probably not married, because my wife would beat my butt.
Mine would be pretty mad at stuff. Like, what? You're out there fishing? You can win a $65,000 boat? Yeah. No.
You're full.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it would have sounded. That's exactly what it would have sounded like, Tanner.
Yep.
What?
Exactly.
Oh man.
Kind of the other cool thing is too is that even if one of the tagged fish doesn't get caught by a ticket holder, all the ticket holders' names will go into a pot in a random drawing for the boat package. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking for me right now,
pretty good odds.
Only 250 people
Heck yeah.
ish entered in right now. I'm going to go home and buy my wife and my son and my 2 daughters tickets tonight. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, true.
even if they don't even wet a line for one of these tagged redfish, man, heck, we got a chance at winning a boat. You know, I mean, golly,
Right.
that's
Great point.
Yeah. The old raffle way.
Yeah.
And that'll bring me to my next point. That's way better odds than what it takes to win the contender at the Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
the random drawing. The contender random drawing.
It's probably better odds than a
Marine
slot
is,
machine.
sponsoring that. It's going to have a Yamaha on the back of it with a sport trail underneath it. You know, you're looking at 3,500 plus anglers that are getting one name drawn out of the hat for that. So you got basically 2 chances to win boats this year, you know, this summer.
Yeah, for sure. The Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo is coming up. What is it? What dates are that?
I believe it's the 14th through the 17th of July. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. First full 3rd weekend in July.
And those tickets are on sale now, right?
They are on sale. All of our ticket outlets have tickets. I just got confirmation of that. from our ticket guys earlier. And that's all of our physical outlets, you know, so Academy, Greer's down there on Foul River, Quince up in Saraland. I know I'm forgetting a few others. Tackle This, Shoot That, and Theodore are a couple of our physical outlets. And then, of course, Fishing Chaos to buy it online is a great way to do that. I really like the Fishing Chaos way of doing things because you buy your ticket online and then you come up to the weigh station and we'll shoot your QR code off of your phone, and then all of your information will show up. So it'll say Tanner Deas.
Oh,
he lives at
Tanner.
You know, he lives on 3418 Cottage Hill Drive, you know, Cottage Hill Road, whatever. And it already has all your email and phone number and everything on there, you know, so that when you do win the contender boat, the contender bay with Yamaha on it, there's no doubt how to get in contact with you. You know what I mean?
Emphasis on the Yamaha.
That's right.
Well, man, that's great. I know you can get the
Fishing Chaos.
I know you can get registered for the Star Tournament on the Fishing Chaos app as well.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep, both of them are on there. Yep, Fishing Chaos has made the tournament games so easy as far as keeping up with the information, everything. You know, as far as angler information, being able to sign up and being able to get in whichever categories you want to be in. That's kind of cool thing about the rodeo too. You know, you buy your regular $50 open ticket on there, and then you can buy all your respective jackpot tickets. You know, you can buy your
that's nice.
Your
nice.
Yamaha speckled trout jackpot ticket, and your big game, your king mackerel tickets. You can enter cash prizes categories in there, and it makes it very seamless. And then the weigh-in process is much more seamless as well. When you come in to weigh in a fish, there's no registering your name in there and all that. You know, if you've got a paper ticket, that's another step. So makes your weigh-in process so much more seamless. And I know last year on Sunday, golly, we had more boats out in front of our docks than I've ever seen in the history of me doing it for the past 14 years. But yet we weighed in more fish per hour than we have ever seen. I think we were weighing, I want to say that Kevin Marin told me that we were weighing in 730 fish per hour.
Wow.
On Sunday. You know,
that's crazy.
So we were slinging some fish across the scales.
Slinging some slime.
Fish, man.
Yep.
Slime slinging.
Yep. Hopefully everybody will be patient with us again this year, and it'll be a big event. Really looking forward to it. Of course, you know, we got live music going on down there.
It's a fun time.
All 3 days. Yeah, we got the Velcro Pygmies going to play on Saturday evening, starting at 7, right after the weigh station closes. So that's a free event. Feel free to bring your wives, your girlfriends, your children, whoever you want to bring, man. Bring them on.
Nice. I know you guys put on a nice event, man. We appreciate you coming on and sharing that information with our listeners. You got to get registered for the CCA Star Tournament and also get registered for that Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo. We appreciate it, Cap. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, man. Yep. Thank y'all for having me on and let me spread the good word, man. And y'all have a good rest of the show.
You too, buddy. Have good trips this week. We look forward to hearing from the report from you soon.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
All right, Tanner, let's head on down and get our inshore report of the day. We're going to talk to Captain Bobby Abruscato with A-Team Fishing. Welcome back to the show, Cap. How we doing? It's been a little while.
Yeah, I know it, man. It seems like a long time, but it's still a blast. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm glad you still got my number, man.
That's right. I think we kind of got you out of rotation, and we got messed up last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. You did have my number, and that's right.
Yeah,
you didn't put
got our wires crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lined you up and then gave you the stiff. That was my bad for sure. We had a
calling you out, man. It's calling you out.
Sounds like some of my high school. Sounds like some of my dates in high school, man. I got stiff. Right. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. Man, what's been going on in the inshore fishing world? What you been chasing? What's been going on?
You know, I'll tell you, it continues to be one of the better years that I've had. I'm not going to say the best, you know, comparing it way way back, but just this year and really even last year for that matter, it's really been one of the better years that I've had in 10, 12 years, really since about the oil spill year. And I think a lot of it's to do with this, with the regulation change 2 months. Now about a month, we'll be 3 years into the new regulations where we reduce the creel and put an upper slot size on trout, which we've never, ever had. And I think we're kind of reaping the benefits of it now in terms of numbers. And numbers haven't been a problem, but now we're catching numbers of size fish. And taking it even one step further, and this is kind of what I want to talk about, probably since the last time we talked, is it's been probably never that I've used as much artificial bait in the summer months as I've used this year. And I think that kind of speaks to what's going on with the trout fishing. You had to have bait in June in years past. Man,
Wow.
I'd have to look back and see. I know I got some shrimp one day. I think it was a Saturday morning a couple of weeks ago, or a Friday evening, because I knew it was going to be busy on Saturday, and rode them around with my boat for 4 days and ended up dumping every one of them out because we never opened the live well. So I'm still not brave enough to go totally without it. But, I think that it's a product of how good the fishing's starting to get back to now, to where you can do those kind of things. We've had numerous trips in the last 2 weeks where we've gotten most of the trip done by 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, all on top water. And that's kind of unheard of in the month
That's
of
awesome.
June, so, or at least for me.
I love hearing that.
Well, and that's what's exciting about it to me. Not that I'm a live bait snob, because I can promise you guys probably won't live long enough to use the amount of live bait that I've used in my life. And I'm going to continue to use it. And I'm not saying that you don't do well when you do bring live bait. The point I'm trying to make is, I think that how good of a year that we're having, just to be able to do those kind of things. And I'm not talking about taking guys like, all on artificial during the summer. Now we're not talking about April or May or October, November, which is artificial bait fishing months. So I'm talking about prime live bait season, so, and I wrote an article that's in the June issue of Great Days Outdoors specifically about that. And, when we get the deadline for our articles, it's usually about 2 months out that we actually write the story. And so I'm writing that story about using artificial bait in June back in April, I think, or maybe late March. And at that time, that's when gas prices were starting to go through the roof. And we were talking about, how people may not be doing as much offshore, which may shove them into inshore fishing, and how the bait dealers may be struggling. So we started talking about, the whole article was about using artificial bait during the summer. And I was writing it more to talk about an alternative to use live bait if live bait becomes too expensive to use, or it's going to be already expensive, but if it becomes too expensive or too scarce. And that hasn't been, though the expensive part has come true, but the scarce part, they're doing a great job of keeping good bait at all the bait dealers. But
so much bait today.
What's come about, like I was just talking about, the thing that's really got me excited is the fact that, we can make trips during the summer months using solely artificial bait. So, again, just going back to, I think that kind of points to how good the fishing's, getting back to now. And that's a long answer to your first question. So that's what's been going on.
No, I think that's great. I think you're right. I think that's a testament to our fishery with the new regulations, on top of anglers, participating a little more, release over 20, and also the hatchery. It's got to be helping a ton.
Yeah, I think we really have made a difference in our fishery in the past couple of years. This kind of mindset of a lot of anglers releasing fish,
And I think it's coming full circle now. I think we're seeing
caring about the fishery, and we're really putting a lot into it. Even the younger generation, I think, and the older generation too, we're really realizing
adopting these release
what
tactics because they
happens-
make a huge difference.
what happens if you just
Not that I'm
release some
against eating
fish.
fish. I don't
No,
want
you
anybody
gotta
to
eat
think
them.
that.
You gotta eat them. Groceries are too expensive. If you're spending gas, you gotta eat some
Yeah.
fish.
Yep.
That's just how it
Yeah.
goes. But releasing these fish, man, and kind of just, what's the best word? I guess just, it's like gardening. You're just tending to the fishery.
There
You know
go.
what I mean?
Being a
And
steward of the fishery.
yeah, being a good steward of the fishery and what we have going. The speckled trout bite last year, you're talking about throwing artificials. I mean, I caught so many fish on artificials in the surf last year, June and July, August.
good to see.
And this year I haven't really caught as many, but it's been really productive. The fish size is amazing. It's just been so good to see. I love it. I know Bobby does.
Yep. And I'll tell you,
being
I
in the
do.
industry.
And I'll tell you one thing, just kind of, adding a little bit more what Tanner was talking about, when you're, if you can think in terms of when you release you're not just releasing that one fish.
That's right.
When you got
Right.
a species of fish like the speckled trout and white trout, really that species of fish, they're such prolific spawners, and they start spawning at a young age, and they spawn like crazy. So you're not just releasing that one fish. You've released probably in the continued lifetime of that fish, thousands of fish, maybe more. Who knows?
Millions.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
So and then you look at what happens with those fish, and you start going like, man, this is how we keep this thing going. So
Exponential.
So I think, yeah, it's exponential, because if you look at it, the numbers just go nuts. It's like that, it's like the Amway thing. It just keeps spreading, and then and so it's not, if you can get the mindset to the point like, oh, I just killed one 22-inch fish, that's all I did. Well, not if you release that one 22-inch fish, you just released, who knows
Right.
how many,
A bajillion.
lot.
Yeah.
So
Ton.
if you can get that mindset too, it's a lot easier to let those fish go. And I think that the mindset of like Tanner just said, people my age, people your all's age, and younger, that ain't the way it used to be.
Right.
It used to be you caught them, you kept them, a limit of fish, and
As much as the law would allow.
because that's what you did.
Right.
I've heard the stories.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's hey, you know what? It's like the biblical story, man. I can't cast a first stone because I was guilty as anybody, but I started
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
what was going on. You know what I'm
Early
saying?
in my
I
fishing
started seeing
career,
what was
I
going-
absolutely whacked the fish and kept a lot of fish, almost unnecessarily.
Well,
you know,
and I
just
know I've
Yeah.
said it a bunch on here too, is it's a progression, right?
yeah,
I
absolutely.
know I've said it a bunch of times, but you have to meet people where they are. I mean, I
Yeah.
killed a lot of fish. I know Captain Bobby did, and
And
you
like
just have
I
to go
said,
through that.
groceries are expensive. So
Absolutely.
is gas. We all like fried fish,
But
and
keep
we
the
all
right
like
fish, right?
Right. Keep the right fish, and then just keep what you need.
That's right.
And not. I think if you're going out there and you're whacking 50 speckled trout, you don't need all 50 trout.
That's right.
That's just
No,
not.
no, you don't, and you certainly don't need those, like Butch just said, the right ones too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like
The right size too.
And I'm a minimalist when it comes to social media, but I do glance at them every once in a while, and usually following almost all fishing sites. But I almost feel sorry sometimes for these guys that'll post a picture of a bunch of dead, or even just a big dead trout, and they get crucified on it. I go like, man,
Yeah.
these poor guys proud of this fish, and everybody goes like, you idiot, why did you not release it? They just jump all over them, So that mentality is there way more than it used to be. And I think if it continues that way, we're going to continue to have an improved fishery.
Yep, I agree. But also, don't be that guy that's bashing somebody for killing it. Like, I get it.
I know
but you don't know that guy's story either.
That's right. There's Red Road goes both ways.
It does.
It does suck killing big fish, and at the same time, that could be the fish that you've been wanting to put on your wall your whole life.
That's right. So it's all good.
And the only reason I bring that up is to your point of the mentality of people.
That's right.
Now and there are people that are just, I would never do it. If I
I
would
know
do
that.
anything, I would say congratulations and bite my tongue. But, the point I'm making is to
That
y'all's
word is
point is
spreading.
that mentality is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of like,
Don't
hey,
kill him.
you didn't need to kill that fish. Yeah. And I wouldn't say it. I'd be thinking it, but I wouldn't say it, so.
Yeah.
So that's a great point, Captain Bobby. It's great to hear that you guys are seeing the numbers and even, big trout in those numbers. What have you been honing in on lately? You've been fishing on the beach. You've been fishing the marsh points. What's been the pattern? Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on?
Fortunately, it's been all of the above.
All.
I had a trip. It's kind of been weather, where the weather dictates. Partly of the anglers I have, partly of where I have to run out of. I'll give you a perfect example. We went, I think it was Sunday. And this past Sunday, I think it was. And the weather kept us out of the north end of the sound. There was some squall activity there. So we shifted gears and ran out in the bay. And that's the only time I fished the bay, or the second time this year that I fished the bay. And out there, you're slip corking with live shrimp. And it was a whack fest. So I've been doing that. I've done that when I've had to. I've been doing, if I can fish the bridge or shoals area, it's been good. Again, that's another real weather sensitive place. I've had a chance to get around on the Gulf Beach a little bit. It's tough to guide on that Gulf Beach because you unzip your fly. Can I say that on the air? You unzip your fly when you get around.
Yeah, you're exposed out there.
You
No
are
doubt.
committed there. And it's hard
It's a full
to do that.
send.
It's a little tricky to do that. But I do it when the conditions are right. And then the majority of the time I've been spending down in the Sound, fishing grass or shell. As I mentioned, a lot of that's got a lot of mullet activity and finfish activity. And there was a big wave of shrimp that came through there a couple weeks ago. There were some some bird activity. And so I've just been doing kind of a variety of things based on what the conditions and a little bit to the extent of what the crew that I have with me, wants to do. I had some guys that wanted to bring some fish back to Birmingham. And one of the schools we hit, bird schools we hit, was some nice white trout. And I said, guys, I'll clean these for you if you'd rather. I'd rather you keep these than I had speckled crackers. And they were tickled to death, So it just kind of depends on the group I got. And then, the fella I had yesterday and a couple of guys that I've had over the last couple of weeks, they would have caught 3 white trout and said, okay, we're going to do something different. They were going to want to catch some nice specks. So it just kind of depends on who I get. But that, again, that's kind of going back to the original topic we were talking about, is that's the way that it's been. I always feel like if you can go catch fish based on what the conditions let you do, things are good. Because if you're counting on like one area or one spot or one type of fishery and something weather-wise, for example, changes that and you can't catch fish, then you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that right now. It's one of these kind of things where it's, what you want to do, what you can do is condition-based, and you can go out and I still feel confident doing whatever I have to do to go catch them, and so that's the way it's been.
Well, I heard you say that you were fishing shell and sort of in the Sound area. That's something that I did a ton of in April and May with Dylan Keene and several other friends. And we really, you used the word whack fest a minute ago, Cap. And it was like that. All these fish were
just on them,
just thick and over 20s and top waters and slick lures. And you're hooking up and you're like, oh, this one's 25 and it's fighting really hard and it's just 23. And then you're like, oh, this one's huge and it's just 24 and a half. And you're just like, oh man, like the fish were just amazing. And it was just a great time. And it was everything you want trout fishing to be. And then the bite sort of fell off for me. And so I kind of moved on to the Gulf and the sand bottom and some other areas on the island, and kind of away from the shell. And I've definitely seen a decrease, number one, in size of my fish and in action. I've had a lot less bites and a lot less quality. And so based on your experience, is that shell bottom and that mud bottom, is that still, the ticket this time of year, in this hot heat, or you were talking about the Gulf side. Last year I saw so much success in the surf this time of year, and it's not been replicated just about the same as I was having last year. I was catching huge fish, probably a dozen 25 inches or better, and tons of over 20s, and just unable to replicate that this year in the surf. I really haven't had a bunch of killer days. I've gone and I've had some good days on the sand bottom, but it's not been like April and May was. And so I'm just curious, based on your experience, is that shell bottom and that mud bottom still the ticket this time of year, the grass? What are those trout looking for, and what do you typically want? I'm sure you've got some notes back from all the years
Captain's
of
log.
fishing, so maybe drop a little secret for us.
You never go wrong fishing over any kind of hard bottom, shell or grass, because that's what they like to spawn over. But I think you nailed it when you said, water temperature. Yesterday, the transducer in my little boat's inside the boat, so I didn't get a good temperature reading, but I know that we're in the mid 80 degree range, water temperature wise. It's hot, It is hot. So, with that, some of the stuff that would be doing over shell or grass is shallow water stuff. So the true pattern would be get away from that stuff by the time the sun gets up at all. Fortunately, it's hung in there because we've had some windy days and some cloudy days where I've been doing, been able to stay on that a little longer. But typically what I do is this time of year is move off of that. The fish tell you when. You'll know pretty quick when it's time to move. But to your Gulf fishing, I think one of the things that affects that Gulf beach or the Gulf side fishing is the amount of rain that we get in upstate runoff. I think that moves a lot of stuff around to the Gulf side, and we just haven't had that kind of rain this year. You know what I'm saying? And I think that probably has something to do with part of what may have been going on with your Gulf bite, possibly. Because I know that the years that the bay's been flooded late into the spring is the years that those Gulf Beach fish have been just the deal, and we just haven't had that. We've had clear water way up.
Been very clear water.
way
up into the bay. And that typically doesn't happen in April and May. Usually the bays, at least into early May, the bay's somewhat flooded, and it hasn't been the case. I haven't fished much. I take that back. I ran 2 trips outside of Fowl River, outside the mouth of East Fowl River, a month and a half ago and caught fish. So I'm in mid-May out there catching fish, and typically I wouldn't even think about going up there until late summer, So that's one thing I would say that could be part of what's going on with you. And of course, there's 1,000 other factors that we don't know about.
Oh,
but that's
no doubt.
one thing that came to mind when you first said that. So, the true thing, if right now, to the listeners of the podcast, the true bite, the true pattern really should be to go out with, if you can get your hands on live bait, get out early possibly and do some plug fish and topwater fishing, that sort of thing early. And when I say early, I'm talking about 7:30, it's time to move. And then get out and fish any of the structure that's in the bay and sound, and all of it's got fish. All the stuff in the sound's got fish on it. All the stuff in the bay's got fish on it. Sometimes you have to move around a little bit to find a hot school, but all of that does. So that's what I'd be doing, a little later in the morning till it just gets too brutal to fish,
Yeah, till it's
slip
hot,
corking.
hot.
I call it the 4 R's: rigs, reefs, wrecks, and rock piles.
There you go.
See, I thought that was funny. See, wreck starts with a W, Butch.
Tanner didn't even catch it.
But
I like it.
yeah. Damn, I'm working here, man. I thought I'd get a little laugh out of that.
Tough crowd.
Yeah, tough crowd, I guess.
It's a tough crowd here,
Sorry,
man.
Cap.
Woo, I'm working hard here, man. But yeah, those kind of things in deeper water than 8 feet. I don't know if either one of you guys has a pool, but you probably dove in a pool. But yeah, I can feel it in mine, particularly when we've had a little bit of like an afternoon thunder shower or something. It's amazing the difference in the water temperature from the surface of the pool down to the deep end of the pool. It's a notice until you get around swimming and stirring it up. And that's what's going on, so that cooler water holds more oxygen, the fish stay active in it. And that's why the deep water stuff, plus the sun doesn't affect the bite nearly as much either when you're in that deep water stuff. Unfortunately for me, that's primarily I had some guys with me Sunday where we went out there and fished some of those rigs, and I was taking care of them, baiting their hooks, taking their fish off and that sort of thing, which is what I'm supposed to be doing. But in between bites, I was throwing a grub, and I had 2 bites. Both of them cut me off. They were Spanish. I never caught a trout on a grub out there, So, and these guys were wrecking them on. You couldn't catch them any faster, and I couldn't buy one on a grub, So, that's primarily to me. When I start going out there, I'm going to have some bait in the well, when I start doing that kind of stuff.
That makes me really curious. I went this morning before all the rain. I rolled the dice and made the drive from in town, and I got down to the island. And I went over, to the golf course area. And there was just an immense amount of bait in the water, from 12-inch mullets to 5-inch mullets to 2 or 3-inch minnows swimming up by the bank. Super high tide, pretty dirty water, honestly, especially for the area, because that area is pretty protected and usually really clean. But pretty dirty water, and I would make a cast with my top water, and there would 20 or 30 pogies would jump out of the water from my bait landing in the water. Slicks coming out, throwing top waters. Golly, I got there pretty early. I had a line in the water by 6:15 at the latest. Threw top waters for over an hour, moved to slick lures, moved to twitch baits, moved to bumping grubs on the bottom, and I couldn't even buy a bite. And I saw trout choking. Literally, I saw a trout in front of me choke on a finger mullet or a pogie that was too big, and she was rolling and like messed up and just surprised at the size of the bait that she had just eaten, and finally regained consciousness and kept moving. She was choking, and I couldn't buy it in there. And I was just thinking to myself, if I had a live croaker right now, I would be smoking the fish. And is it true? Like, can you just not get them on artificial sometimes when it's like that? Is there just too much live bait and too much in the area? Or should I have been able to catch a fish? Because in my head, I should have been smoking them, right? But it didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is a saying you can remember. This will make a lot of sense to you. Is the perfect situation is a bunch of fish, trout, for example, a bunch of trout and very little bait. The worst situation is very few trout and a whole bunch of bait, because they can be a whole lot pickier. And that sounds like may have been what's going on.
I mean, it was crazy.
Another way to look at it, I mean, if you're driving down the road, if you're driving down Airport Boulevard, for example, you got a restaurant on every street corner. You can be picky about what you want to eat. But if you're driving down a desert highway and the only place you stop is a gas station that's got about a 3-day-old hot dog turning on the spit there, that looks pretty good.
Hot dog's looking fire.
So, it's looking real good. You know what I'm saying? So that may have been something about like what you had going on right there. You know, that's the way I always think about it.
It was crazy.
So our first thought, you know, as anglers, a lot of times is when you see that much bait, oh boy, they're here. Yeah, well, they are, you know, but it
was an ideal scenario.
Yeah. You know, the other time that I do like seeing a lot of bait is when it's shrimp. Because there's, you know, they go into frenzies when that's going on. So I don't have a bit of problem seeing a bunch of shrimp on the surface or birds chasing shrimp, you know, that sort of thing. So they'll eat then. But I think a lot of times when you get around those big finfish like that, you're probably talking about a fewer number of fish that are able to eat the type of bait that you're throwing, and that attributes maybe to a little bit slower bite too. You know, so and then on top of all of that, it's fishing. There's no guarantees in fishing, man. You never know.
No doubt.
Them fish have outsmarted us anglers many, many times, brother.
For many years.
They don't always do what they're supposed to, but we think they're supposed to do.
For sure.
That's right, man. That's a fact.
Which is what brings us back.
That's why you keep going back.
That's right. That's why you keep going. And I mean,
always trying to learn to figure them out.
That's why a day like y'all had the other day there, you know.
Absolutely. If you don't go, you can't have those days. And if you don't go, you can't have days where you learn either. And
you have a couple of tough days and you really appreciate those epic days.
Yep.
That's right. They become even more valuable.
Yep. That's a fact.
That's exactly right.
Well, man, for our listeners that are trying to fish this weekend, kind of weather aside, have you thought about a tip or anything that would kind of make the difference for the weekend?
I think the big thing I would still do, even though we talked a lot about just using artificial bait, I would probably, if I was going to fish this weekend, I would definitely try and get some live shrimp and or croakers. At least in wherever.
Tanner learned that lesson this morning.
Yeah, I would still have some live bait because I'm going to have bait for my trip tomorrow, even though I'm hoping we don't even have to use it. I'm still going to have it because I'm not that confident, but I would definitely have some to fall back on, you know. But, you know, I would definitely, if you got around, do what Tanner did today, do what we did. I didn't fish today, but last couple of days and start out early, maybe around some bait and some shallow stuff with top water, and then get out there and find that structure. You know, there's plenty of it that sticks up. There's plenty of it that's marked that doesn't, you know, stick up. All of that stuff's got fish on it. And the worst thing that happens when you do that, you know, you may not catch all nice trout, but you're going to catch some fish. There's mackerel, there's all sorts of other fish out there, you know, that you'll catch. So, you know, that would be the thing I would say to the listeners right now is you're going to do that. Go with that not the sure thing. There's no such thing, but the better odds thing, which is going to be to do some bait fishing at some structure.
Man, that's a great report. That's a great tip. If folks want to get up with you and book a trip, what's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
A-Team Fishing is my website. That's all one word, A-Team, like the old Mr. T show, fishing.com, and it's got all of our contact information. You can either call or go through the email, and we get you booked up.
Always good to hear from you, Cap. We enjoyed the report. Great tip, and keep whacking them, man. We look forward to hearing from you next time.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks for having me on.
All right, guys. That's a great inshore report from Captain Bobby Abruscato. Always good to hear from the Marshal of the Mississippi Sound. You guys take a few minutes, check out a few of this week's great sponsors. That segment was brought to you by AFTCO, American Fishing Tackle Company. AFTCO's fishing clothing is designed to handle the harshest elements. From cold tournament mornings to the humid summers of Florida, their products are built to handle the extreme. They're proud to hear customer stories about the 20-plus year-long life cycle of their AFTCO products. Their passion for the outdoors goes beyond their products. They're committed to protecting their fishing resources and angler rights. Through their 10% pledge to protect and conserve, your purchase of any AFTCO product directly supports conservation initiatives. Visit aftco.com. That's AFTCO.com to learn more. And also brought to you by Alabama Marine Resources. The Alabama Marine Resources Division reminds all recreational anglers who harvest gray triggerfish, greater amberjack, or red snapper that their catch must be reported through Snapper Check. This includes vessels, kayaks, and shore anglers who possess any of these reef fish. Reporting is mandatory and must be done prior to landing fish in Alabama, regardless of where the fish were caught. Anglers can report to Snapper Check online at outdooralabama.com or through the official Outdoor AL app. For more information about Snapper Check or any of the 2021 fishing seasons, lines, please visit outdooralabama.com. All right, Tanner, we're going to head down and get our last report, but certainly not the least. We hadn't heard from Captain Kendall Annan on the Gulf Rebel for a while. Let's get the offshore report. What'd you say, Captain Kendall?
Man, nothing much. Just living the dream.
That's right. Salt life, right?
No doubt. Out
That's
there in
right.
the deep depths.
Y'all been turning and burning, man. Y'all been doing some several trips a day. And I know you guys have been offshore. So let's start off as far as we can go, man. What you guys see on the tuning grounds last time you were out there?
Yeah, we've been keeping it real close where we can play both fields since it's snapper season, giving us a chance for the guys that want to really go get a tuna, give them the opportunity to, maybe go get a strike on a yellowfin, but also play around with the blackfin. And when we don't do good, or if it's slow bite during the day, we can come back in and catch the 2-day limit snapper.
Sure. That definitely makes sense, man. Tuna bite's been kind of slow. You guys been seeing anything different out there?
Yeah, like I said, it's just been slow. So like I said, been keeping it close. But the blue water was out there between the elbow and the spur. And so, during the days, we've been kind of trolling that edge from the double yellow, running that east. And we've been getting a few good-sized wahoo, lost a few, been catching a little bit of blackfin, open water bite.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. We've been, while we're cooking, we're fishing, trying to find that big wahoo,
That wahoo are sweet. And that's a really good eater. I mean,
Wahoo's delicious.
Top tier.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like a tremble bait
Yeah.
for that? Or are you guys running too fast for that? Y'all just running jet heads?
Yeah, what you got going?
Yeah, we're running jet heads. Sometimes, if we're scouting out spots or weed lines or a rig or a drill ship, we'll throw out the ballyhoo. But that's just tough when you're running the mono rigs. You got to hook them just right. We'll stick with that cable, decent size, 135-pound test, 3-foot leader.
For those wahoo, is there anything that you're doing to target them, specifically when you go out there? You fishing around structure? You just trolling and riding?
Yeah, we're trolling and riding and looking for a rip, especially in the bluer water, finding that rip and that grass line and just trying to stay in some clean water, maybe looking for birds working or that school of bait popping. Besides just trolling around with a double or a spread, we're working on a rig right now. They do it more on the East Coast, is using a 100-foot leader with a planer where, if you are in some dirty water or midday, you can get down and drop the level down. Sometimes the wahoo will swim at a little deeper level and you can get to them a little better. And that's something we got. It takes a big planer about the size of a notebook, but it gets it on down there.
I'm going to bring you back to that for sure. I've definitely never done
so
that before.
cool.
I mean, I've done it for king mackerel and Spanish, running a planer that's, the size of a baseball card. You can't run very fast doing that at all, I wouldn't imagine. And what kind of reel are you putting on that?
And I thought wahoo, I thought you trolled for those guys really fast. What's up with all this?
Yeah, you can. I mean, wahoo, top 3 fastest fish out there. I think they're, what are they, number 3 or 2 behind the Shellfish and the Mako? I'm not sure. But
they're fast.
No, man, they're not.
There.
They're not swimming. They're not swimming fast when they're just cruising. They're really slow, and sometimes, like I said, they're hanging in the packs in that little bit deeper water. Sometimes, because that clear water. What's 100-foot vids to them? They can shoot up there in the sky on something any minute. So. With the planer deal, you got it hooked up where when you reel up, you got to wind on swivel. You basically just reel in the swivel. And when you get to that planer, you just unclip the planer and off she comes. And you just reel it on in and fight it like a normal fish.
That's very interesting. I've definitely never done that before, but that makes sense. I mean, you're whenever you're wahoo fishing, you're always trying to get down a little bit deeper somehow, with those big old lead heads and even the inline trolling lead, in front of your leader, in front of your lead head, you're just trying to get down a little further.
Right. Let's
talk bottom fishing a little bit, man. Snapper season's still going in hot and heavy. I've talked to my brother a little bit. It's been a little bit tough. What are you guys seeing?
Well, I'm out there every day. I'm usually typically in that 15-30 mile range. Now, depending on the trip, you can get out to that 45-50 mile range. You're getting into a little bit better grade. Current's been starting to change now. We're getting that nasty weather, so we'll see how that holds up. But as far as where I'm fishing, in that 15-30 mile range, it's been all right. It's been steady enough. The fish are so green in the shallow water that, you got to have some anglers on board. A lot of our bigger fish have been coming off like a drift line. I think I touched on that earlier. We've been using a double hook, stinger hook rig, cable, 135-pound test on the drift line. But, the king mackerel, talking about trolling, the king mackerel, Spanish mackerel are way down from the previous years. So, I don't even think we caught a king or Spanish yet on a drift line, which, we're not probably in the best area for them, but you know how they just hang around. But we haven't really hooked on any this year. Right, always keep one out. I say that I'll catch one tomorrow, but
that's right.
The mono, we'll switch to a mono leader every once in a while. We getting some hog snappers, and they'll break us off sometimes because they're my deckhand. I got a new deckhand this year. Yeah, he's learned. Yeah, well, he just we're getting there where it's just boom, it hits, and if you're in 65 foot of water,
you don't have much leeway there before you're in the rig.
You got to get that rig up.
We ran into that the other day. We were having some trouble. We were fishing in about 60 foot of water for snapper, Tanner and I got wrecked a couple times on my Stratic. You know, I was fishing 30 foot up, but you just got to bow up.
You're running a 5,000 size reel. You hook a 15, 20 pound snapper, and it's going.
I got him out. Though.
Structure. You did.
Mm-hmm. She's screaming. She screamed.
Right. She's going straight.
We're running 30-pound tests on our drift line, so you got to kind of. A couple times it was we had a little too tight. I think we broke it off one time, but
I'd rather break them off than get in the wreck.
You hang them. It's one thing for you to find them, but now you hang it to somebody, a 10-year-old, from Missouri. It's a little different.
Not going to stop them. But, right.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Right. We get some though. We get some.
Well, man, we were talking to Captain King Marchand on the Lady Ann. I think that was last week. Actually, Tanner and I had some pretty good luck with Ling last week as well. We were talking to King about just being ready all the time. It seems like even on bottom spots this year, there's been a ton of Ling just popping up out of nowhere, which has not been the case in the past 2 years, I would say, from my experience.
Super trendy topic on the last podcast.
You guys seeing those brownfish popping up as well?
Yeah. We had one like 2 days ago pop up on us, and I was just talking about how they migrate down, and then right about now they're on these deeper wrecks.
Yep, a little more offshore.
Just being ready. Right, just being ready. I think we caught one on the bottom, and like I said, they're down there. Every time I'm diving on some of these wrecks, I see them on the bottom, just surfing that sand, And I think I talked about this last time. It's like when you do catch one, I like to fillet open and kind of see what they're eating, what they're, targeting. And most of the time I see they got like stingrays in their bellies and stuff. So it's kind of wild to see what they're chewing on.
I've only caught one. Our trip with Butch was super epic. Very aggressive fish, probably 15 to 25 on one end of the ship.
Yeah, we probably saw 25 easily.
Big cobia, 18-inch cobia and
50 pounds.
50-inch cobia. Yeah. I mean, it was just covered in fish.
Yeah, we caught 5.
And I mean, it was so cool, but they seemed very ferocious. They seemed
they
like
were hungry.
It doesn't matter what you're throwing over there. I've even heard that you can throw a catfish for bait and they'll smoke it. So
cut the
hearing
fins
that they
off,
eat a stingray is no surprise. They sound like they're not very picky.
No, they're hungry.
No, yeah. Well, those I call them alligators of the Gulf because the way they just roll
fast.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sense?
They grow super fast.
I mean, if they eat like that.
Like, I don't think they're far behind a mahi, and mahi is the fastest growing fish in the Gulf.
Right, and triple tail is pretty high up there as well.
Yep, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, I have a confession to make. Like Tanner was saying, we got to get out Friday, got to catch some snapper on my boat. And being from a charter boat background, putting out mass production of snapper, I wouldn't say that I've been giving snapper a bad name necessarily as far as, eating goes. I wasn't treating them properly. I feel like you and I have kind of honed in on that the past couple of, year or two since I've gotten to know Hank Shaw, hunter, angler, gardener, cook. He's really imprinted it in my brain how important it is to take care of your fish every step of the catch. And man, there ain't nothing wrong with that snapper, son. It is delicious.
It's a wonderful fish. And, a lot of these fish that we have, they are better than
like we were talking about Spanish earlier.
For.
Same thing. I gave Spanish a bad name. You need to bleed them. You need to ice them properly.
You got to bleed them. I mean, you can ikejime your fish, or you can kind of take a step down from that and just bleed your fish and brain it.
Pop the gills.
Take a knife, pop it in the brain. Take some time to educate yourself on where the brain is on multiple fish. It's not in the same spot everywhere.
And where to pop the gill membrane.
But if you treat the fish correctly, so we cleaned our cobia from that day at your dad's house.
Yep.
Right? Well, I took mine home. The amount of blood in my fish and y'all's fish was even a big difference from leaving it on ice for longer than you did.
That's interesting.
I had way less blood in my meat than you had when you were cleaning y'all's fish.
Sure.
And it was very interesting to me. I mean, there was some blood in the melted ice when I took the fish out to clean the fish.
That thought hadn't even crossed my mind.
That made sense to me. There was some blood that got out of the fish, but I didn't think, we bled every single fish, brained every single fish when it hit the deck.
Yep.
At the same time, as soon as it happened, as soon as it hit the deck, it went on ice. I imagined that the meat and everything was going to be the exact same as
At
what
that point, I would have thought the same thing.
as what I saw from you. I mean, it'd been on ice for 4 or 5 hours when y'all cleaned it.
Right.
Well, mine was on ice for, I would say, 24 hours.
Right.
And so I went and pulled the fish off, and it was
Crispy, white, delicious fillets.
pristine.
And that's interesting.
A smaller bloodline than you had. And also noticed there was blood between the skin and the meat on your fish. And I had a lot that was minimal on the one that I was dealing with. But yeah, people, the snapper, they taste amazing. If you just treat the fish right.
Just a little bit of effort.
Yep.
Goes a long ways.
Spinning the gas, you might as well.
Oh yeah, we get that all the time. We get questions like that. We're cleaning fish, and we got a little kitchen dressing. I tell them, but I look at it like that red on the meat's like steak. You know what I mean? A little fat on the steak. I like it in there a little bit. I might be a little saltier than some others, but
it can be in there. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be out. I agree with that. That's right.
The biggest thing with processing the fish and removing that bloodline and removing that red meat is when you're keeping it. When you're freezing it and you're trying to plan on eating it
at a later date
back out.
I agree with that.
It totally changes the profile, totally changes the freshness and the flavor. You remove the fishy flavor when you thaw the meat back out.
Right.
It tastes like you caught the fish yesterday.
Agreed.
And that's the part that matters.
We talked about the Spanish and all that, and I tell a lot of people, eat that first. It's going to be the freshest, and they're oilier fish, and I know they get a bad rap too, but like I said, that's some of the best fish if you eat it fresh, and you can freeze it too. I tend to try to eat it first just because the oily, but I leave the skin on, like I said, because it is oily, and it cooks good with the skin on, holds the meat together, and like I said, if you deep fry or whatever, man, you can just eat it all, eat the skin and everything. I think I only know one person, and that's my mother, that doesn't eat the skin, but she cooks it and stuff with the skin on, and it peels right off. So everything's good. You know what I mean?
Yep. We did a couple of half shell fillets with the snapper on the green egg, and it was unbelievable. I mean, phenomenal.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah. Same with the throats.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess
did you
we're
keep
talking
the ling
about
throat?
Food. I kept the ling throat. That was amazing. Very tender. Delicious.
Y'all keep the ribs?
Sweet meat. So I didn't keep the ribs, but what I did do is I took the whole belly, like we were talking about.
Yep.
And so I skinned it off I took it off of the skin. And then because it's got such a thick membrane, I was able to flip it over and put it on the membrane and then skin it off the membrane. So I was left with like this 24-inch long
belly meat,
like strip of belly meat from both sides of the fish.
Right.
And dude,
melts in your mouth.
My God.
It's a whole different flavor profile.
And so also I took the steaks and I took the throat. So I did the same thing with my red snapper throats. I was just about to ask how you guys cook your throats. I took my throats. It was somebody on the boat with us that day when we went with Gray. And they were like, dude, you got to soak your red snapper throats in Italian dressing. So
that's good.
I have Olive Garden Italian dressing sitting in the fridge, right? And so I'm like,
it's meant to be.
I'm like, dude, I got to do this thing. And so when we went on that trip and I got some red snapper, I marinated them up in the Italian, and I took the ling throat, I marinated them up in Italian and threw them on the grill. I took some steaks, I soaked them in melted butter, and it was just amazing.
I'm getting hungry.
Right. But those throats are a very slept on piece of meat.
I agree. And there's a little bit of work.
The stomach too. And
a little bit of work.
So I've heard about the ribs. Do you harvest the ribs out of the red snapper?
Yeah. I mean, I just posted a video on my TikTok about a recipe on the ribs.
Okay. I'll have to look it up.
Starting back with the throats, the smaller throats, it depends who I'm cutting them out for. If it's somebody that wants to try it, I'll just do the bigger ones and just tell, hey, butterfly this baby dog up.
Yeah,
and just put it on the grill, you know what I mean? But now if you got more of a savvy guy or like me, I'll break the smaller ones in half, scale them, and then, batter and fry them. And then do like a chicken wing, the smaller ones.
What?
So,
tastes just like chicken, and it looks like chicken too.
Stop playing around.
That's
Dude,
right.
so
That's right. Sounds like chicken.
Y'all stop it.
I promise.
Are you serious?
No, it is.
There's a little bit of work, which
nah, it's fine. I'll work for that fish meat.
Yep.
It's all good.
# no waste. No waste.
You'll like the ribs. try the ribs next time. You can do small or big on the ribs. I'll take it, do like a crab bowl, the Zatarain's bowl bag, or the liquid bowl. I was talking about it on my video. If you use the liquid bowl, I always use like 20 times the serving. It's just a little bit more kick on it. But I'll bowl the ribs. Well, season them first with a little bit of red or something.
Well, hold on. Before we season and cook them, we got to clean them.
Right.
So if I'm filleting a snapper,
I need to know how
I
you're
don't
getting
know
the
about
ribs.
these ribs. Yeah. So talk to me through that.
Yeah.
There's a fillet in it. Okay. So, once you chop down on it, and basically once you skin it, I don't know, you skin it.
The whole fillet is off of it.
Y'all
I've got a
fillet.
carcass, right?
We're filleting.
You probably fillet and then bypass the ribs already, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Or do you cut it all out? Yeah, I know. So I cut it all
leave
out.
the ribs on the carcass.
Yeah, so go ahead and cut them out with the fillet. So then you get your fillet with the ribs on them, and then you could just cookie cutter it off, right? After you've skinned it. So you skin it with the rib on it. So you got your skinned fillet with the ribs on. Then you cookie cutter it out, just one chop down.
Like
it's not too big of a deal.
Meat.
Oh, it is, though. It is. And here's the thing. So you got your ribs. And like I said, you can have the smaller ones, too. It's all good. Season them up. Put them in the bowl for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you got it on your
I got
TikTok?
it. Yeah, check it out.
All right, I will.
Yeah, FV Gulf Rebel. FV Gulf Rebel. It's got the video.
FV Gulf Rebel.
FV Gulf Rebel on TikTok.
All right.
If you want to know how to get some ribs.
I can't picture that in my brain.
Snapper ribs. No, I'm not seeing it in my brain, but I need to know how to do snapper ribs. I recently saw a video of a guy. He actually harvested some meat under the ribs on the carcass of a Kubera snapper.
Yeah.
And so it led me to believe that I'm sure that same piece of meat is on a red snapper. And so here we are talking about ribs.
Yeah.
And
also,
I have boiled down a fish head for fish head soup.
Yeah.
And
Hank does all that. It's delicious.
I've not tackled it on a grand scale, just a sheep's head, head, just to kind of experiment and
you can make the stock,
right,
broth and all kind of stuff.
It's going down pretty soon. I'm gonna do it on Brandon Collier's channel. I'm gonna throw down. I'm gonna take a huge boiling pot. I'm gonna take a giant red snapper.
I like it.
And I'm gonna make some fish head soup.
Do all of them.
The fish that we catch, it's got more meat than we think.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I know that I wasted a lot for a long time. That goes back to what I was saying a minute ago about just growing up on the back deck and not taking care of things and being meticulous. I've wasted a lot of meat for sure.
But you were on fish so often that the value of the meat was decreased and not even realized because of
so many pounds a day.
Because of how much
sheer volume,
you
couldn't be that picky. I agree.
Right? Yeah, you don't even realize or think about. Oh, here go the ribs. Oh, here goes a throat. Oh, here goes, all of this delectable stomach meat. Like none of that passes your mind.
No.
But when gas is $6 a gallon,
a little different.
And
we're licking the bone.
Is what it costs right now.
Yeah. Can we eat this bone?
You might as well get it all.
Cartilage, eyeballs, and all. We're taking it.
That's right. Well, man, I think we covered everything, Captain Kendall. We appreciate the report. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I got a tip for you if you want to hear it.
Heck yeah,
gotta
man.
have a tip.
We're all about some tips.
So what I've been noticing, and like I said, I have a new deckhand this year. This is one thing I hit on, detailed the way we rig tackle and bait and everything really. But one of the things is when you're trolling for tuna or marlin, or even just trolling for your Spanish or king off the beach, is you have a ball bearing swivel, and it needs to be on the right direction. So if you're listening to this and you go have a few in front of you, take a look at them, they're tapered in a certain direction, and always have it to make sure it's kind of funneling away or downward through. It's got a little catch area, and when that lure's spinning or you're trolling, it kind of acts like a prop, and it'll suck in that trash if you have it in backwards. But even your tag lines, if you're hooking up mono or wire or cable, whatever you're hooking up and trolling with, to make sure that your tag lines are cut fine point at an angle or real nice and tight. I like to cut mine tight and at an angle, so it's kind of like a hook or an arrow, so it doesn't grab onto any like weed or trash in the water.
Yeah, I'm a big tagline guy. I
if you're-
can't stand for somebody to rig up a rig,
Ooh.
leave 8, 6, 8 inches on a tagline.
Well,
Right.
I even think it's crazy when people get bid on that. I'm
Yeah.
like, how does
How did
that
that
even?
fish- right.
Why did that even happen?
That fish should have been better than that.
Yeah.
But man, it's interesting about the ball bearing swivels. I don't know that I've ever paid attention to that. I've trolled a lot.
So detailed.
Super detailed. That's something you only get from guys that live on the water. That's very cool. So I think I understand what you're saying. Like those Sampo ball bearing swivels. Now that I think about it, you're right. They are a little fatter, quote, up top, and they taper down. So you want the fatter part up top or towards the
Right.
tip.
You want it whichever way you're pulling that thing, you want it streaming off and not going in there. where it's
Tapering
sucking
down.
Up to that, like I said, them trash. Right.
That
The
makes sense.
detail on this tip, and like
Whole
you
report.
said,
Yeah.
how it, you only notice this about your swivels when you're going
A lot.
every single
That's
day.
right.
You're like,
That's right.
oh,
It's a lot of time on the water
wait,
for that.
this looks like this. I've tied this 100,000 times, and on the 100,001 time,
I figured this out.
this is tapered, and this is how it's supposed to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that is awesome, man. That is a very,
Detailed.
the
It'll make a
details
difference.
matter, and
It'll
it
make a
all
difference.
makes a difference. How your bait's running, looking natural. You want that stuff to be right. And that's an awesome tip for the offshore guys.
Yeah, if that swivel's not working, you're gonna get twisted up and it's gonna break eventually.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Captain Kendall, that's a great report. That's a great tip. If folks want to get up with you guys and book a inshore or an offshore trip, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
They can look us up on the website or Facebook at Gulf Rebel Charters, gulfrebelcharters.com. Give us a call, 251-597-2499 is my number. You have to reach out to me.
Awesome, buddy. We appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you next time. Be safe out there, Cap.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right, guys, that wraps up another offshore segment from Captain Kendall Annan with the Gulf Rebel. You guys take a quick minute and check out a few of this week's great sponsors. That segment was brought to you by Ricciardone Family Dentistry. Dr. Josh is a local dentist with 11 years of experience and is also an avid angler. He enjoys ripping lips as much as he enjoys making your smile perfect. At Ricciardone Family Dentistry, they treat their patients like family and friends. They accept most dental insurances and see patients of all ages. Is your skin a little wrinkled from years of sun damage? Dr. Josh also offers cosmetic Botox. Don't let an achy tooth or a broken tooth from biting your fishing line too much keep you from a great day outdoors. Or if you just need a checkup, call them today at 251-342-6672 to book an appointment today. And also brought to you by Admiral Shellfish. Admiral oysters are available at select restaurants and can also be purchased by the public at Bon Secours Fisheries, Inc. and Ahi Seafood in Fairhope, Alabama. Call for availability. From a simple, nutrient-dense appetizer at home or a shucking party with friends, Admiral oysters will steal the show. Follow their adventures on Instagram at Admiral Shellfish Co. All right, Tanner, we got to do what did you learn before we got here today, man? What'd you pick up from today's show?
Man, I thought Kendall and Bobby had some great things to offer. Perdido Blane too, with those, I think he called them GI jigs.
That's right. Yeah.
I am something about a big eye on a jig head or a jig is very interesting to me. So I think the GI jigs will be something that I pick a couple of.
Let's try 'em,
I think
yeah.
I'm gonna pick a few of them up and see what they're talking about. I'm always throwing the traditional diamond jig or just a little spinner.
Yep.
Spoon. and-
Gotcha plug. I like the gotcha
just
plug.
something shiny and doesn't really matter. And I'm interested to try the GI jigs and see
For
what
sure.
those are talking about. But Captain Kendall Annan was talking about macro numbers, being down, and I'm just wondering, maybe are other people experiencing that? They're going offshore. I've been on a couple offshore trips this year. I would say at least a dozen, maybe 15 or 20. And we have caught some king mackerel, and
I just haven't targeted them at all. I know my dad went out pretty inshore, hit some rigs that are close to the beach, and they did pretty well caught one nice king and some nice Spanish. So
years past, me and my dad have gone out in his boat and some of the close rigs and absolutely smoked some really good sized king mackerel and stuff. And it's a hot take. It's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if other folks are seeing that as well.
Yeah, maybe we can get some interaction on Facebook, hear about these mackerel numbers for
Give us some info.
Boating guys as well as the beach guys or the inshore, nearshore guys. What are you guys seeing as far as mackerel numbers? I feel like I've seen a lot of Spanish mackerel on social media.
Yeah, I feel the same
being
way.
caught onshore, guys
near
like
shore, too.
Bama Beach Bum.
Yeah.
And he just talked about it. and had some videos go up. He absolutely smoked some sizable Spanish mackerel, on the jetties, and just interesting. Would love to get some interaction on that. And then he also talked about, wahoo, and that's a really cool fish.
Delicious.
Awesome fish to catch. Salty Swigs just caught his first, I think a week or two ago, was out doing some deep dropping in some golden tile grounds and was like, oh, hey, I'm just going to troll a mile to this other spot. And then
got to keep the trollers out.
And then landed a 12-pound wahoo and got it all on video. Super.
Well, I think that's a great tip in itself. And I think we've said it before on here is if you're moving between spot to spot, keep out a troller, man.
Right. Yeah.
And also
take the time to do it.
Like my dad was telling us the other day, we're going too fast. How many fish are you passing up?
Right. We talked about it. That's
Slow down.
Slow down.
Watch your bottom machine. Keep out a couple trollers, man. You're going over fish all day, every day.
All day, every day. I think we pass a lot of fish, just like your dad's saying.
Yep.
I'm sure there's spots and lumps and things that the
watch your bottom
has
machine
formed that no one knows about or very few people know about. You drop a bait down there and you're going to smoke a sow, and pull up a big red snapper.
So that's to get you off track there. But
yeah, I mean, that's all there. But he was talking about the wahoo and he was talking about slow trolling for him with a notebook sized planer. And that was
interesting to me too.
I mean, I have no experience, never caught a wahoo, but anytime I've ever seen it, on YouTube or social media, and we kind of talked about it on one of our breaks, 17, 20 knots, 21 knots. Yeah. And these guys are hauling tail.
Oh, yeah.
And these are fast fish and they're taking, 30, 40, 50, 60-foot divers and going 17, 20 knots and catching a fish. And here he's talking about doing it with a notebook size planer and slow trolling.
And you cannot be going very fast doing that planer. I wouldn't think that
Heck
big.
No.
But it makes sense though. You're like I was telling him on his report, that's kind of the deal. You're always trying to get down a little further for those wahoo, putting the inline weight in front of your leader.
Makes a ton of sense.
And then a lead head. So yeah.
It's super interesting. And for people who are going offshore, it's a tactic that they can keep in mind and be like, hey, maybe we try this thing to change up our chances.
Well, maybe that's what you put out in between spots to make you go a little slower to look for stuff on the bottom.
That's right. And you take the time to troll and do these things and you might catch that wahoo that you've been wanting to catch for God knows how long or who knows, there's no telling. And then one more thing that I learned is, from Captain Bobby, he talked about fishing shell bottom. Here we are, it's the end of June. Shell bottom, mud bottom was kind of off my list at this point. It was something that I had moved on from. I was doing a ton of shell bottom and mud bottom fishing
stuff
in April and May, and doing all that with Dylan and Swigs and Captain Collier and and we were crushing the big trout, over 20s on a regular basis, 10 to 12 of them every trip.
Might be time to go back a little bit.
Session. Right. And I had kind of moved on to this sand bottom and to this Gulf targeting, which is a lot of what I was doing this time last year. And I've just seen, a decrease in numbers and quality of fish.
It's not last year.
It's not last year. And, here I am trying to replicate that stuff. And that may just not be what the fish are doing. And I thought what Bobby had to say about where he's catching them and where they're at was really interesting. And it's going to change my next trip. That specific piece of information from Captain Bobby Abruscato is going to change my next trip. It's going to change where I go. Today I was fishing sand bottom and I was fishing areas for trout that, were on the Gulf side or very similar. And there was no love.
Right.
Tons of bait.
So change it up.
Literally seeing trout eat bait and not getting any bites. So I'm going to go visit the mud. I'm going to go visit the shell. And maybe if you're doing the same thing, you take that bit of advice for your planning, this weekend.
Replicate that pattern.
We've got these small windows. We've got a lot of rain on the radar, but the wind is setting up
negligible.
For some excellent conditions. So if you go, the fish are already wet. So wear
That's
your rain jacket and go, man. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go.
It won't be near as hot in a rainstorm.
Right. I'm going to go. I'm going to get wet. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens with Captain Bobby's tip there. But what about you? What did you learn?
Man, everything that you said, all of the above.
Yeah, dude, it was a great show.
A lot of information for sure. Feel pretty good about this one, definitely. The thing that I picked up, probably the most stuck out to me, was Captain Kendall's ball bearing swivel
So detailed.
tidbit. If you put that ball bearing swivel upside down, so if you put the pointy end, so to speak, towards your rod tip,
Yep.
that ball bearing swivel can get some sargassum seeds or debris, whatever it may be in there, and it could stop that ball bearing swivel, and you could lose a big fish that way.
When you're trolling, it is minimal on what affects your bait and how it's swimming.
That's right. You're
and
right
the
about that.
natural appearance, and it can just take one piece of sargassum.
Yep.
Or
Clog that thing up.
Several seeds that get lodged and it's got a stem.
Or even if it's not messing up the action of your bait, it could be if you
Just
hook
a
a
point
big
of
fish.
weakness.
So I was going to say, if you hook a big fish on that,
Yep.
and that
Extra
swivel's not
tension.
swiveling, it's kind of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's twisting your line, you could lose that big fish.
That's an incredible piece of information that he gave. And like we said on the show, something that you may not notice without 100,000 hours, 10,000 hours.
Agreed.
That they say it takes 10,000 to be a professional. Well, that might be one of the things that you don't pick up until 10,000 hours.
All right, guys, that wraps up another great segment. Let's take a quick break and check out a few of this week's great sponsors. That segment was brought to you by Photonis Defense. Photonis Defense is proud to offer the PD Pro line of night vision systems. The PD Pro series is the world's smallest and lightest night vision goggles built around the Photonis 16mm filmless 4G image intensifier tubes in their hybrid filmless 18mm image intensifier tubes. These ultra-light, ultra-compact night vision systems deliver cleanest images, best resolution, smallest, most transparent halo, and best overall performance and function of any night vision system available. The PDR Pro line consists of the PD Pro M 16mm monocular, the PD Pro B 16mm binocular, and the PD Pro Q panoramic night vision system. Photonis Defense, masters of darkness. And also brought to you by Foster Contracting, Fortified Roofing Pros. The recent thunderstorms that have been producing wind and hail in the area may have damaged your home's roof. The certified roofing pros at Foster Contracting offer free roof inspections, and if your roof has received damage, most homeowners will have little or no cost out of pocket when going through your insurance. If you're looking for quality construction with a dependable, licensed, and certified fortified roofing professional, give the Fortified Roofing Pros a call at 251-973-9999. They're a family-owned business that is big enough to get the job done, but small enough to care. Remember to support the local businesses that make your local podcast possible, and check them out at fortifiedroofingpros.com. All right, guys, I know this is a busy weekend coming up. It's 4th of July. There's going to be a lot of people on the water. You guys, please be safe. Wear your kill switches. Wear your life jackets, especially if you're going to be alone. Just wear your life jacket.
Agreed.
Wear your life jacket. Be safe. Wear your kill switch. You guys keep a close eye on your family and friends.
Monitor your alcohol consumption, man. I know it's a good time to go out and party, and nobody wants to be the buzzkill. Nobody wants to be the guy.
But if you're driving a boat, a BUI is just as serious as a DUI.
That's right. And the people who are on your boat, their lives are valuable, just as valuable as yours. And just pay attention, you guys. Pay attention to how much you're drinking out there. Pay attention to your driving and to others on the water, swimmers, boaters, surfers, fishermen alike. We all deserve respect out there. Let's just treat each other well, and be respectful. And that starts with, minding yourself and being a good steward of what we've got. So enjoy the weekend, enjoy 4th of July and everything it has to offer, but be safe too. We want to see you guys out there next weekend as well.
Well, Tanner, I appreciate you being with me today, man. We enjoyed it.
Man, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure sitting here, being a part of our fishing community.
Just talking fishing, right?
Yeah, man. We talked about it on the break with Richard. It is just an incredible community.
Yep.
An incredible thing to be a part of. Fish are amazing. Our fishery is amazing.
Yep.
And all the guys who are a part of it just make it so awesome. And shout out to these guys on the show. You for having me on, man. It's so awesome for you giving us the opportunity to talk about fishing and just to interact with all of this and
it's
be a part of Great Days Outdoors and Best Fishing Report. And what you guys are doing is just so awesome. So
appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for being my co-host. It was covered a lot of good ground, a lot of good information, a lot of good tips.
Thank you so much, man. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be your co-host anytime. So we'll have to do it again.
Until next time.
That's right, brother.
All All right, folks, that wraps up another great Alabama saltwater fishing report. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to text the word fishing to 314-665-1767 to get that 10% off AFCO promo code and also to be added to our email list. And we'll send you the new show each week. You guys be safe out there. This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report has been brought to you by Dixie Supply and Baker Metalworks are proud to be your metal roofing headquarters for over 40 years. Save time and money by buying from the most reliable manufacturer on the Gulf Coast. Buy it today, pick it up today. With the addition of their new store in Cantonment, Florida, they now have 8 locations to serve you. Dixie Supply and Baker Metalworks, your metal roofing headquarters. And also brought to you by KillerDock. KillerDock uses marine-grade aluminum to make fabulous fish cleaning tables and stunning canopies that will keep us out of the sun. KillerDock combines durability, function, and design to uniquely upgrade your entire dock experience. Visit KillerDock.com to see more. And also brought to you by Bahio Sunglasses. See more, catch more. Experience the clearest lenses on the planet with Bahio Sunglasses. Try on a pair at your local retailer or check out BahioSunglasses.com to see for yourself.
This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report brought to you by me, Angelo Depaola, The Coastal Connection. Find us online at thecoastalconnection.com.
And also brought to you by BoatersList.com. If you own or run a boat, you know how difficult it can be to find the right company for the task at hand. Sign up at BoatersList.com to find a company to work with on your next boat project. Also brought to you by Hilton's Real-Time Navigator, bringing you the highest quality online satellite fishing chart since 2004. Your source for sea temps, altimetry, currents, and watercolor at hiltonsoffshore.com. Also brought to you by Bucks Island. They have new pontoon boats, bass boats, bow riders, and aluminum boats for sale. They provide boat service on all kinds of boats, even if they weren't purchased from Bucks. Visit them at 4500 Highway 77 in Southside, Alabama, or give them a call at 256-442-2588. And also brought to you by Test Calibration. Test Calibration is your source for sales and service of diesel turbochargers and fuel injection systems since 1976. Contact them at 800-822-0057 or visit them online at testcalibratindieselandturbo.com. And also brought to you by Fishbites. Whether you are hitting the sand with a set rig using the traditional scent strips for pompano or fishing the flats or marshes for speckled trout, redfish, and flounder, Fishbites has something for you. Check out the full line of scented saltwater and freshwater baits at fishbites.com. And also brought to you by MB Ranch King, built in the pursuit of perfection. MB Ranch King hunting blinds and feeders are built to last, right here in the USA. They offer high-quality, easy-to-use corn and protein feeders that can be filled with both feet on the ground. Call Kevin today for more info or a quote at 205-807-2937.
This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report was brought to you by me, Joe Baya, and National Land Realty. If I can help you in any way with the purchase or sale of land in Alabama or Florida, whether it's timberland, farmland, recreational land like hunting land, or even agricultural land or ranch land like horse farm, drop me a message at jbaya@nationalland.com. That's JBAYA@nationalland.com.